Welcome to 5D Channels and Chats with Rachel Chamness. As a shamanic channel and mentor, I'll be sharing wisdom and healing from higher dimensions through channeling beings of light. You will also hear liquid Reiki shamanic sound healing, channels between intuitives, and discussion on higher dimensional healing and channeling. You'll find links and more in the show notes, so be sure to check them. You can find me at soundwavesheal.com and my Facebook group, 5D Daily Spiritual Healers in Higher Dimensions. Hi everyone, welcome. Today I'll be talking about light language. What is it? What does it do? What are the benefits? Where does it come from? What are the different types? How do you know if you're attuned? And many other questions that I hear a lot about light language. Light language is an alternative energetic healing modality, and it comes through in a variety of different ways. It can be symbols, language, tapping, drumming, singing or toning, which is the same thing when it comes to sound healing. Toning is the word for singing. It can be art, body movement, it can be symbols, dancing, it can be hand movements, it can come from an instrument, and it can even be numbers. All of this is different ways to bring it through. And what is it made of? It's a language of vibration. It's sound, vibration, frequency, light. It's all of those things expressed differently in the way that we are feeling it, hearing it, seeing it, in whatever way it's coming through. It's really just a language of vibration. What's really beautiful about this language of light is that it always comes from the light, from high vibrational beings, and it's come to help you do healing work on others. And it can be used in a variety of different ways, but the good news is it's always from the light. And if it's not from the light, if you feel like you're listening to something that doesn't feel like it's from the light, then it's really not light language. It's the same sort of thing as Reiki. Basically, if it's not from the light, then it's not light language and it's not Reiki. So this is really a beautiful modality that you can be attuned to by a practitioner or be naturally attuned to. And you can really use it for healing others, for helping others attune to concepts or to beings. You can use light language in many, many ways. This is a language of sound, vibration, light, and really what it distills into is what we would call light codes. These light codes could be seen if you're clairvoyant. I see them as gold-colored symbols or writing, or just an impression of that streaming in as I'm bringing it through. If you know my story, I came from a singer background, so I often use my voice, toning, singing, and bringing through those codes. And I see them coming as I'm using sound, but you could bring them through in any way. Of course, you've seen them in art. You've seen them in dance. When I'm using light language dance, to me it looks like I'm sort of bringing the codes to you physically by moving them through me towards you, through my hands or through my body. And that's a really beautiful expression too. And it can be expressed in so many ways. There's so many ways to express it that I couldn't even tell you them all. And there could always be a new way as well. And those of you who are familiar with energy healing would consider it to be a multidimensional communication modality. That spirit is sending us messages, spirit is sending us healing and light codes, and you can bring them through your body and to your client or whoever you wish to heal. And you can also heal yourself in that way, bringing them to your higher self. You can bring them to your DNA, your physical body, or that of your client. And though light language originates from source, from God, the universe, whatever word you like, it's also coming through high vibrational beings many times. And it can be star beings. You hear a lot of galactic light language, and that can be from different planets. You could bring it through from angels, from illumined or ascended masters, elemental beings like elves, fairies, unicorns. You could bring them through from any kind of being or just from source. What does light language do, and what are the benefits of light language? Well, light language can connect you to higher realms. You can use light language to be connected to higher vibrational beings and channel them. You can use it to be connected to spirit guides, to multi-dimensional realms, to extraterrestrial languages. And many people believe that light language is here so that we can understand languages from extraterrestrials should they come speak to us. But I find most extraterrestrials don't need a language because they speak mostly through telepathy. But the interesting thing about light language is that you can bring it through and not even know what it means, but you'll feel what it's for, and you can make a intention of what you're bringing light language through for, and it will be within that intention. So you don't always have to know what you're saying, although people do. It took me about 2 years to start understanding the light language I bring through. But the truth is I don't always try to understand all the words. I just feel what it's about, and then if I have questions, then I just directly ask. As a channel, I will receive the answers. So that's easy enough for me. It's interesting the way that light language works because it bypasses the analytical human mind easily because we don't really always understand the words. And you can truly connect and activate knowledge from your higher self with this light language. It can change your DNA. It can clear your chakras. It can bring light codes to assist our healing on any level, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. And it's a multidimensional language. It can restore you on all levels. It can heal the etheric level of the body. It heals and can add higher frequencies to a person's DNA. So it's a really good tool for up-leveling yourself, up-leveling your clients. I really, really recommend light language to everyone, especially Reiki practitioners, and it is actually part of my accelerated advanced channeling program, which is my signature program, because I think it is so opening, really opens your channel itself and helps you really channel better, or is a great beginner to channeling. And so I always start with it with my signature program. Light language connects you with your higher knowledge. And so you can really bring in healing of your own from your higher self as well. And you can bring in healing that you've worked with before, like in a past life when you were a higher vibrational being. You can use this recall for healing and transformation for yourself and others. It's known to heal chakras, realign distorted neural pathways, remove mental blockages, recalibrate brain waves. But the main thing is that it really brings the mind into a healing state, and it brings a lot of peace. It can align you with your true self and your soul. It can help build your light body for ascension. I really love the way that the channel of light language brings that light language through their body, and through their body they are healing themselves as they bring it out of their body to be given to another, whether that's toning or speaking or using hands or drawing. But every way that it's expressed, just like Reiki, it's brought through the body, and the body does benefit from that, getting a kickback of that energy, and it really helps you prepare for ascension and build that light body so much. That is one of the ways that it does it. But plus you're bringing in all these higher dimensional light frequencies, and they are so healing. They are there for this purpose. We are here for this purpose. We are going towards ascension, and we need to bring all of this light through. We need to bring it to heal others and to raise the vibration of the planet, and light language is a perfect way to do that. What does light language sound like? It can sound like a foreign or extraterrestrial language. It can sound like clicks or animal sounds, tones, and it can be musical. The way that I bring it through, of course, is singing or toning, and it can be really beautiful sounds sometimes, or beautiful melodies, but sometimes it can be dissonant, which means it's kind of a jarring or a sound that you don't expect. And when that happens, it's really about loosening a block or really taking out something that you don't need anymore. And then usually it smooths back out into a beautiful sound again, which sort of replaces that block that's been removed with some higher frequencies. And that actually happens a lot. And it's a little difficult when you are a musician to hear these sounds or to make these sounds, but it's worth it because it really, really heals people. Light language can also be used to help with writing or composing music, or using a musical instrument. And I often help people in an advanced light language attunement bring it through their preferred instrument. Now, I have to say that speaking in tongues is one expression of light language, and many people who suffer from religious trauma can just really hate that, speaking in tongues, because it's misused and, there's so much there. But really, spoken light language is actually speaking in tongues. So there is real speaking in tongues, and it's true from the light, and sometimes you hear that sort of thing where it's not from the light, it's just a channeled speaking of something dark. But light language itself is always light, it's always from the light. How do you know if it's from the dark or from the light? I think is really a big question of discernment. Are you listening to light language? Or are you listening to something else? That is something you're going to have to learn to discern yourself by understanding how language of the light is making you feel great and how it's different than you may feel other language. So if you're listening to what is labeled as light language and you are not feeling good, and it's not just like a passing feeling of something is being released and then you're feeling great, it's just making you feel lower and lower, then you may not be listening to light language. And I would really caution about just listening to any kind of sound language from anywhere. Just really know and trust who you're listening to so that you can just relax and receive the light codes and not have to worry, like, who is this person? Are they of the light? It's kind of important to really know where you're getting your sound healing. I know that sounds like it's a little bit more difficult than just randomly choosing someone on social media, but I think it's really important. What does light language look like? Of course, you're going to see it through some dancing or art or other ways where it's more visual than it is sound, where the dancer brings forth the codes to you through intention and movement, or the artist imprints the art with it and it is imprinted onto you when you're looking at it. But light language can be seen by some clairvoyants as colors or symbols in the air, sacred geometry, codes, frequencies, and of course you see light codes when they're written on art or on paper. Light codes are just channeled healing symbols brought by higher dimensional beings in the form of codes of light. So you can think of them as codes or as a symbol of something that is brought to you. So you might see the same light code as someone else and you may see it as a different code, like it might look different to you than it would from someone else. And of course, you will feel them most likely. So it's not just about seeing them within the mind's eye or seeing them as if they're in front of you. It really depends on your psychic senses. You may not see them at all, but you may hear them. You may just channel them where they're just coming right out of your mouth at like a toning or speaking without any thought at all. It's just pure channel. Pure trance channel is what that's called when you're not hearing it and repeating it, but it's just coming straight out of you and even new to you as you hear it. So these light codes can be from many different kinds of light language, many different kinds of light beings. They can look different. To everyone, you may instinctively know what a light code is or what it means, and you may even be able to translate it, but it might not be the same when another person translates it because they are mutable, not fixed. So they can just be different for different people depending where you are and what you're healing at the time. How do you learn light language? Well, you need to be attuned. It is activated in the body with an attunement. An attunement tunes the body to be on the same vibration as this language of light so that you can channel it. That's how channeling works. You have to match your vibration to what you're channeling. So in a light language activation, the practitioner uses intention and light language itself to open the student's body and etheric body to be attuned to it. It's like tuning a piano to be a certain pitch. The attunement tunes you to the language. So your light language attunement experience may not be the same as another's, as there are millions of types. And you may be naturally attuned. You could be tuned by your spirit guides or come into this world attuned to light language. And you may be listening to this going, oh, is that what I'm doing? That's possible. So how do you know if you're attuned to light language? In a light language activation, the practitioner should have a method to check if you're attuned and that the language of light is activated within you. However, the intention itself is enough to tune you. If someone has attuned you to it, you're attuned whether you believe it or not. And that's really important because sometimes we have to just prove it by working on it and bringing it through. You may be attuned to one type of expression, such as toning, drumming, speaking, or you could be attuned to several, or you could be attuned to many, many types of light language, or you could be attuned to one. And sometimes when beginners start with their light language, they really feel like they're not really attuned because they're saying the same word over and over, or it sounds like the same tune over and over, and they wonder, why isn't it anything else? That's because that's one language that you're attuned to. And you may have light language where you experience all different kinds of languages where it just seems like it changes and it's different all the time. Then that means you're tuned to many. So that's just the way that it works. It's really interesting. And it might not just be sounds. I'm speaking mainly of toning and speaking, but you could be attuned to drumming or the light language coming through your fingers with art or with the dancing or body movements. So there's so many ways to be attuned. Many people I find once they're attuned by a light language attunement, they are attuned to every kind. So you don't really need to be attuned to every single kind, but as a practitioner myself, I like to attune people to each kind that I can, just to bring up their self-belief and have them really experience it and know it. And I feel it really helps in an attunement. And you might feel a whole lot happening in an attunement, just like with a Reiki attunement. You could feel so much. You could have the most incredible earth-shattering experience, or you could feel nothing at all. You know, a lot of people think you have to feel this earth-shattering experience to really know that you're attuned to something, but it doesn't always react that way in your body. Some people feel a lot and some people feel nothing, but it doesn't mean that you're not attuned or that it's not working. So I think that light language is very easy to be attuned to. I know it's very hard to have that self-belief that you are attuned. And whenever I attune people to light language, I teach them how to attune others. And I think other modalities come in handy to use with a light language attunement, like Reiki, and a little bit of divination is a great way to check and make sure that the person is attuned. So I think all these modalities really work together, and that's why I teach them all together. And some natural ways that people become attuned, not just by their spirit guides, but also they can be attuned just by looking at a certain light language, hearing a certain light language that just triggers in them this past life or something where they had this light language before, and it just immediately comes forward. So there's many ways that a natural attunement can be expressed. A lot of people ask me, which light language am I speaking? What's the origin of this light language? Or what's the reason that I have this healing modality? What is the purpose of this? Like, is it part of my light path? Is it part of my destiny? Of course it is. If you are bringing it forth, it is, of course, part of your modality, part of your light path, part of what you're supposed to bring to the world. It is important. You are a healer. If you're naturally attuned to light language, that is a huge sign that you are a healer and a channel, because it's not just healing that you're bringing forth, but channeling. So if you are naturally attuned to light language, there's more for you out there. I would really recommend Reiki 1 immediately if you aren't a Reiki master already. And of course, just exploring that channel, learning how to channel more or more safely, learning about it. I think it's really important. I love to teach healers to channel, and I love to teach channels to heal. I really believe it comes together. It's really important to put it together, that it's not just enough to give someone a Reiki session if you can't give them messages, if you can't bring forth their work that they need to be doing and to help them get there, because that's what people are craving, to really know why they're here and to know how they can help others. And so I think in a channel where you're bringing that through, it's also nice to bring through the healing that the people need. So you might be coming for a reading, find out you have a block, you have a past life that's in your way. Well, let's use healing right now to clear that up. I think they really go together just beautifully, and they're meant to be together, channeling and healing. And I know that sometimes healers sort of shy away from channeling and vice versa, but it's really meant to go together. Many people also ask me what the symbols mean, what the sounds mean. like we talked about before, people might get different translations of that. If you think about it like the letters in the alphabet, you might understand all the letters in the standard American alphabet, but that doesn't mean you understand every word that uses those letters or every language that uses the same letters. So much like the letters are symbols, which are part of a whole word or sentence or meaning, these symbols can be used for many different meanings and understandings. So it's possible that as a practitioner of this healing modality, you may have certain symbols that have come to be a language that you understand when you see them. So then that's different. For you, these symbols are a sign. They're an understanding, a language between you and your spirit guides who are guiding you in this channeled healing. So as you can see, it's many different ways that the symbols can be translated. However, that doesn't change the intention of the symbol or the light code. So the intention of the light code stays intact, but it could be translated in so many ways depending on, like I said, where you are and how that's translating to heal you for that intention at this time. Another question that I get is how many types of light language there are, and the answer is infinite. Just like there are infinite types of higher vibrational beings out there to help us who act as a liaison, I would say, between source and us, there are infinite types of light language. And there's also infinite types of expressions of those light language. Just like different dialects with different regions of the same language, there are so many ways that it can be expressed that is just, blow your mind. So let's talk about the 6 most common expressions of light language that I've seen, and these are the ways that I attune my students to as well. That's toning or singing, drumming. I love some good light language drumming. That's not the same as binaural beats, but beautiful drumming. There's dancing or body movement, sign language, or hand and finger movement. There's art or drawn symbols, and there's speaking. I also teach in my advanced light language how to make sigils and use light language numbers and attune my students to that. So sigils are a focused light language manifestation. They are visual codes to unlock manifestation. And light language numbers are more specific light language. You can use them for attuning to specific beings or a specific concept or for releasing a specific problem. So light language numbers and sigils are in my more advanced class, and I really think they are really cool light language as well. Now, how do you speak light language? Well, once you're attuned, it's very easy to use. Like many healing modalities like Reiki or sound healing, it's really about intention. First, you make sure you're clear and fully present. You make an intention for this healing. For example, you might set the intention of relieving anxiety. Then you begin the light language, allowing it to flow through you in any expression it wishes until you feel that it's finished. And it's that simple. It will flow effortlessly. If it does not, you should ask yourself again, am I clear? Am I connected to higher realms, to my higher self, to source? If the answer is yes, then look to number 2. Am I truly allowing this expression to flow through me without trying to control it, analyze it, understand it, or make it happen? And once these questions are addressed, if you're attuned, it should flow really easily. Now, does it translate? It translates to some, and others it may not. That's okay. It doesn't need to be translated by you. It just needs to work. So you don't need to be able to fully translate what comes through. And that doesn't make it more powerful if you do understand it. For me, I don't really need to understand it. I like to just bring it through and enjoy the feeling of it as it's coming through me. And Spirit will tell me a few things about what they are saying or some of the words. I already know what it's doing because I've already made the intention of what it's for before I channeled it. And if I have any other questions, then I just ask Spirit, and as a channel, I receive the answer. So I find it's just more enjoyable personally to just experience it, even though I'm bringing it through for someone else most of the time. I'm going to give you a little demo of light language and also let you know I'll be doing more demos plus answering questions, and I'll have my student Michelle London with me on Thursday in 5D Daily Spiritual Healers in Higher Dimensions, my Facebook group. And there's also a blog post on my website. You'll find the link in the show notes. It's called What is Light Language at soundwavesheal.com. This light language healing is to clear a past life that is creating an emotion in this life which is no longer serving you, and it will work through all time, space, and dimensions. And anytime that you listen to this, and we are all protected by beings of the light in a sacred circle that I have constructed, and through other psychic healing modalities that I use for protection. That was to clear a past life. Now, my light language is always infused with liquid Reiki, shamanic healing, which does use light language, but it's still a good representation of what light language sounds like. And I want to know, could you tell what kind of being I was channeling then? It was dragons. I felt so many dragons come in for that, and it was really beautiful. They used their fire for healing and clearing, and it was great. So I hope that you really felt that and that it helps you. And I hope I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Rachel Chamness at Soundwaves Heal, and I hope you'll tune in next week. Thanks. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you are a healer or spiritual entrepreneur, present or future, I'd like to invite you to my Facebook group, 5D Daily, Spiritual Healers in Higher Dimensions, where I'll be live for more discussion and questions on Thursdays. I'll put the link in the show notes. I'm Rachel Chamness at Soundwaves Heal.